I am now pleased to move on to the next speaker of our event. Although I should say before I do, I would like to thank those of you who have made an individual donation to help the Heroes program at the National Press Club as part of your registration. The program was created to help frontline hospital workers have freshly made meals to go. Those meals are produced and packaged by the National Press Club's culinary team, so keeping them working at the time when the National Press Club, unfortunately, is closed and we and others cannot be there doing our events. These donations and proceeds from ESA's Policy Forum will be used to support their important work. Okay, so now it gives me great pleasure to introduce our first speaker for policymaking on day 2. Virginia State Senator Jennifer McClellan led the introduction and passage of last year's Virginia Clean Economy Act, landmark legislation transforming Virginia's power sector and putting it on a path to fully decarbonize by 2045, including a storage deployment mandate of 3,100 megawatts by 2035, the largest in the United States to date. Throughout her life and career, Senator McClellan has been a driving force for progressive change in Virginia, from climate change to education to criminal justice reform. And I'm very grateful that she is here today with us. So Senator Jennifer McClellan, welcome to the Policy Forum.
Thank you, and it is great to be here with you today, virtually at least. Hopefully next year we can all be in a room together again. I know there's a lot of talk about change in this country. Change is happening in Washington and in the states in terms of policy, but I'm especially honored to be with a group of people today who are literally powering change in our nation, creating jobs everywhere and powering the future of our electrical grid. What you do every day is changing our world for the better and powering our future. So I want to say thank you. And I want to say a special note of thanks to Virginia's own John Hewa, the chair of your board. Thank you, John, for what you do for the Rappahannock Electrical Cooperative and for the Energy Storage Association every day. Thanks to John and other clean energy leaders, Virginia is the latest success story in moving to 100% clean electric grid. I want to talk with you today about how we had that success in Virginia, what it means for our nation, and the future of energy storage in Virginia. We are at a national turning point for energy policy. Across the country, people are feeling the impact of climate change in their daily lives. Strong bipartisan majorities of Americans support major investments in clean energy, while our nation is poised to make major investments to rebuild our economy from recession. President Biden ran on a plan of moving to 100% clean electrical grid by 2035 and making a $2 trillion investment into clean energy. This will clearly be a top priority for the new president as he leads an economic recovery. The innovation and advocacy of the people in this room will be critical to making that clean energy vision into a reality. As Congress addresses possible clean energy legislation, we should look to the states as a model. While federal action has been limited over the past decade, states have been leading the way. This state, and the first in the South, to set a 100% clean electricity standard. And it's worth looking at how we got there. 1 year ago, the world looked very different. We were starting a new legislative session in Virginia with a new majority. And I introduced a new bill called the Virginia Clean Economy Act, along with my colleague, Rip Sullivan, in the House of Delegates. Many people doubted our ability to pass major energy legislation in Virginia, especially in 1 year. 1 year ago, Virginia was at the back of the pack in clean energy policy. But thanks to the passage of the Virginia Clean Economy Act, Virginia is now a national leader and will be a hub for clean energy jobs. The Virginia Clean Economy Act is the single most significant clean energy bill in Virginia's history. It makes Virginia the first state in the South to set a 100% clean electricity standard, and we passed it with bipartisan support in both chambers. There's plenty to say about the policy particulars of the bill, but I want to start with how we got this done. In Virginia, we went from 0 to 60 on clean energy policy for 3 key reasons. First, a coordinated alliance of business, climate, and public health experts. We started early and brought together an alliance of environmental groups like the League of Conservation Voters, the Sierra Club, and the Chesapeake Climate Action Network. Business leaders at local business groups with local members like the Advanced Energy Economy and the Solar Industry Energy Association. And we brought public health experts. Everyone had slightly different goals, but we managed to get around the table and work out a game plan from the beginning. We rolled out the principles a month before session, and all of the groups stood at the podium together to support the bill. We stuck together, even during hard negotiations with powerful interests. Second, we took a pan-technology approach. One of the powerful aspects of the 100% clean energy standard model is that it doesn't focus on just one policy lever. There is no silver bullet, but a collection of standards and investments that chart a path to a 100% clean future. It was easier to work on a comprehensive package than to try to take each element piecemeal. Third, we were for something, growing the economy and addressing climate change. Too often, climate policy ends up getting defined by what we're taking away rather than what we're building. We focused every day on the economic aspects of our bill. It will create 13,000 jobs a year and drive upwards of $70 billion in private investment in Virginia. In short, we stood for something, job growth and a cleaner Virginia. Our bill ended up passing with bipartisan support in both chambers. This focus on the economy helped our bill get votes across the aisle and helped to avoid any amendments amid the coronavirus crisis. Virginians see clean energy as a critical path to revitalizing our economy and growing jobs, as well as addressing climate change and the environment. Under the Virginia Clean Economy Act, Virginia will move to 100% clean energy by 2045, with clear benchmarks along the way. It also commits Virginia to fully decarbonizing our electric sector, looking beyond the 2030 targets of the Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative. It removes many barriers to rooftop solar and sets an energy efficiency standard, all with a focus on equity and environmental justice. This sets us on a course towards a clean energy future for Virginia. But I know that passing the law is only half of the battle. Now we have to focus on the equally important task of implementation. Energy storage plays a critical role in the Virginia Clean Economy Act and in our transition to a 100% clean grid. That is why we included one of the nation's most ambitious energy storage targets in the nation in the Virginia Clean Economy Act, bringing 3.1 gigawatts of new energy storage online in Virginia over the next 15 years. That's a number that rivals what New York and California are doing. Energy storage is infrastructure, and to paraphrase our new president, infrastructure means jobs. As the Commonwealth and the nation look to build back better, energy storage should be a key part of a larger push for clean infrastructure. In Virginia alone, our energy storage targets should help draw over $3 billion in investment into the Commonwealth. I want Virginia to be a national leader for clean energy, including energy storage. That is how we rebuild and tackle our climate crisis at the same time. To make sure your industry is able to actually develop projects in the state, we know big targets are not enough, which is why I and my fellow lawmakers are committed to making sure we have the right permitting process, tax treatments, and regulations for energy storage. I'm committed to working with my fellow lawmakers during this session, which is currently underway, to advance a raft of legislative measures which will do just that. And I'm committed to making sure we have regulators in place who understand the value of energy storage to our grid and who will uphold the intent of the Virginia Clean Economy Act to move rapidly to 100% clean grid. As we're working to transition our grid to 100% clean energy, I'm also keeping an eye on the cost of Virginia families and businesses. We have to do this in a manner that is affordable for our residents and businesses, which is another reason why I'm so excited about energy storage, because it will help us save money. For years in Virginia, and we're not unique, we've built our grid like we built shopping malls, parking lots. We overbuild to handle the day of maximum demand. At shopping malls, that means building lots of extra spaces that sit empty most days except for Black Friday and Christmas Eve. On our grid, it means building lots of extra wires and power plants that sit idle most of the year. Steel and concrete our ratepayers still have to foot the bill for. But storage changes the equation. With storage, we can build only what we need, with storage acting as our reserve capacity in peak periods, or as non-wire alternatives to areas of acute congestion. The rest of the time, we can put it to use supporting renewable resources and providing ancillary services to the grid. It's as if we were able to roll up the shopping mall parking lot when not in use or repurpose it for new uses. Fundamentally, that means Virginia ratepayers get more bang for their buck, which is what matters to me and my fellow lawmakers. In short, I view energy storage as a win-win-win. It will create jobs in Virginia, it will save ratepayers money, and it will protect Virginia communities by addressing the climate crisis. So in short, we have come a long way, but we still have a long way to go. Yes, the Eagle has landed with the passage of the Virginia Clean Economy Act, but we have another mission ahead: to grow the clean energy economy in every corner of Virginia. Thank you for everything that you have done to help us get to this point, and I look forward to working with you to continue building Virginia's future to 100% clean. Thank you again for having me here today, and I look forward to meeting you all in person soon. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Senator McClellan, for your remarks and for joining us here today. It's really great to have this kind of vision and leadership, certainly, and the Virginia Clean Economy Act obviously was a huge thing for the energy storage industry and something that ESA participated in very directly in terms of the conversations happening prior to that session and in the session to make sure that the energy storage mandate that was included in the legislation was not just significant and to the needs of what Virginia will have, such to make a no regrets target, but also secondarily, extraordinarily important for making sure that the details are right. As you know, storage is a sophisticated asset class, and it can be challenging for new folks, particularly new legislators and new state officials, coming to this subject matter. And so that's one of the key things that ESA does, is we make sure that we're informing policymakers and helping them understand what to do with their legislation. One of the key things that ESA does every year is we run policy working groups associated with our members, our policy partner members, and our leadership circle members to really bring together diverse voices and come up with what ESA's official positions should be on the most pressing and horizon viewing matters of the energy storage industry. And so, for example, in this year that has just elapsed, I'm pleased to announce that ESA has, for example, very appropriate to Senator McClellan's energy storage mandate as a part of the VCEA, has now adopted an official position with respect to storage target design. And so with our diverse members, we have come up with a series of policy principles and policy recommendations for how states should design and structure their energy storage targets to ensure the maximum effectiveness, both for stimulating a new energy storage industry and for, of course, making sure that that industry and those deployments meet the public policy goals of states that are looking to make their electricity service affordable, resilient, and sustainable. So that's something that I encourage those of you, again, who are in the industry and want to shape the voice of ESA, consider joining us as policy partners and leadership circle members so that you can be a part of developing those positions with the industry and shaping our advocacy for years to come.